one of the troubles with Biomarin is they haven't been profitable. I don't think that's been such a bad thing. They really haven't been profitable basically forever. And they could be profitable, but you can see they spend quite a lot on their organization. You can see, I don't know, something like almost $1 billion a year on their business, which without things like more than $1 billion, about $1.5 billion on their organization. That's without including their cost of goods. So they're really kind of a big enterprise from a footprint perspective. And that's not a bad thing because, I mean, ultimately, if your company's going to scale, Wall Street understands that. People, like, for example, one of the criticisms for Amazon was, oh, these guys aren't profitable. Why not? You know, why don't they have profits? And I think that was an old way of looking at business that was pretty short-sighted by Wall Street and by others. And people who could find a way to ignore, well, is the company actually currently profitable, or are they making the deliberate choice to be unprofitable? And I think those are two really different things, right? Anybody could go into Biomarin tomorrow and make it a profitable company. I actually thought about doing that years ago, but that's another story lost in the annals of Wall Street. But the point is that you know, this is a company that could easily be profitable. For example, this quarter they lost 41 million, but if you chop the R&D, you don't even have to chop all of it. They would be up. They would make over 100 million. So of course you want to do some R&D to potentially grow the company as revenue even more, and eventually you'll scale in a good way. Look at Vertex as a good example of that, VRTX. So anyway, we're almost done here. One more quarter, and we should be ready to take a break. And I'm recording this video for future upload. So subscribe to the channel and do all that good stuff. I need these YouTube checks. I'm just kidding. I don't need YouTube checks, but they're still fun to get. Just plugging in a couple more numbers and we'll be done. Again, big lumpiness for Vimizim, another rare disease drug that's just, I mean, again, the amount of people on Vimizim is probably less than 1,000 people. So you think about, like, what is a rare disease drug? You know, people really don't understand the scope of, you know, millions of people take SSRIs, hundreds of thousands of people take some cancer medicines, maybe tens of thousands, but only a couple hundred people take Naglazyme, right? I mean, it's an amazing thing. I once sold a drug for 60 people. And it's important for pharma to have a way to take care of those 60 people, because those could be your brother, your sister, it could be you. I know we have like a bunch of people in my community who have rare diseases, and you know, sometimes there's nowhere to turn if you have a really rare disease. And companies like Biomarin, I think, do really amazing stuff for their patients. And if you know the people that work at a company like that, or the companies I've started, they're really passionate about helping those people that are really kind of forsaken and abandoned by most of the drug industry. So Biomarin's a really cool company. And again, if you are, it may sound cruel or weird to like hear about Aldurazyme or Vimizim or Naglazyme at $600,000. It may sound like, wow, what are these guys doing? That sounds like so much money. But the reality is, if you have that illness, if you're dying of mucopolysaccharidosis 6 and there's never been a drug for that disease, and there was never going to be a drug for that disease with Biomarin, I'd be getting a Biomarin tattoo. I don't know about you. I'd be pretty pumped up that this company saved my life. And you know, the companies in business make money, sure, but if you know how their insurance system works, they're always insured for these rare diseases, because the insurance company doesn't see any need to say no. There are insurance companies now called managed care. It used to be health insurance, but there's sort of been a sly rebranding to managed care, which is kind of its own thing I'll discuss some other day. But point is that their job is to manage care, and they manage care by saying, oh, well, you shouldn't be on this expensive insulin when you should be on generic metformin. Well, that's a good decision. That's how they manage the care. But for this, if you have mucopolysaccharidosis 6, there's nothing to manage. You have to be on this drug, and that's why they uniformly pay for it. And it's interesting, in Brazil, you have a constitutional right to access healthcare, including expensive drugs. So that's why a lot of their patients happen to be in Brazil, because while it's not a very rich country, it's a very big country. So many patients are able to access Biomarin's medicine. As you can see, they sell hundreds of millions of dollars of the stuff, so people can get it. So I would always laugh when people would say, well, you price Daraprim so high, nobody can get the product. I said, well, and who are we selling it to? How are we getting all this revenue if nobody can get it? Who's paying for it? It doesn't make any sense, right? It's a bit of a paradox. But again, you know, you can't expect reason from just about everybody. But some people can reason. So anyway, let's do the annual. So we have a bunch of quarters here. We don't have too much, but we'll kind of go a little bit quickly. We're going to do some forecasts. So how do we do forecasts? That's really hard, the hardest part about all of this, isn't it? You know, the past sales anybody could do. You guys saw me do it in, what, 10 minutes? That's pretty easy. And it maybe looked complicated or looked like I was doing it really fast, but at the end of the day, anybody can learn to do that. It's no different from playing a video game or riding a bicycle or whatever. The brain comes in now, right? Now we have to ask ourselves really hard questions. What the heck is going to happen to the future? The past we know. The past we can look at these and see. But what the heck is going to happen tomorrow? And so the company gives guidance, so that doesn't hurt. But the guidance is only for 1 year. So they kind of have a sense for what's going to happen. But even the company doesn't really know. Isn't that funny? The company is not always right about that. Well, let's look at this royalty line. It looks like this royalty line is the same every damn quarter, right? It averages about 15 a quarter. So you know what? I'm going to forecast. I'm going to take the bold step of saying, I think it's going to be 15 again. All right, so we got 15 down. We got still, what, 7 more assets to go. So which other ones look like they're really stable? Well, let's look at Naglazyme. Naglazyme has been 103 on average for a while. And we can even do like a moving average of 4 quarters. Let's try that. So we're going to do moving average of 4 quarters, and we can see that that doesn't move very much. It stays on average around 100. So would it make sense for us to do 100? I don't see why not. Vimizim is different. Vimizim is kind of growing. So let's see what happens if we do the moving average there. Well, you can see it seems to be kind of growing. First it was 150, then it kind of moved up to 160, maybe 165 is a healthy moving average for Vimizim. We'll try that. PAL, Valinzic, well, this one looks like it's going up around 1 every quarter, so I'm just going to do that. And the quarterly forecasts are not nearly as important as the annual forecast. When we get to the annual forecast, that's going to be really big. Well, Kuvan went generic, so Kuvan looks like it's dropping 1 or 2 every quarter, maybe even as much as 3 a quarter, so let's drop it by 3. Brineura is a new drug, but kind of looks like it's topped out a bit.